From Las Vegas, Nevada, we welcome you to the podcast Real Estate Talk with JC Castillo. JC Castillo and guest.
Good morning, Las Vegas. My name is JC Castillo. We're starting one more episode here of Real Estate Talk with JC Castillo and his guests. And today we have two wonderful guests here at our Equity Title Studio. And we're going to go ahead and give them the introduction. We're going to go ahead and start with Joel and Angel. Angel, good morning. How are you, sir?
Hey, good morning, JC. How you doing?
I'm doing great. And Joel, what's up, man? How are you?
What's up, JC?
How you doing?
Good, man.
Good. So if you want to go ahead and do me a favor, and let's start by Angel. We'll start with you. If you want to give me your name, last name, what you do in the industry, how long you've been doing in the industry, and what company you represent, I would really appreciate that.
All right. Yeah, my name is Angel Martinez. I've been in the business for 9 years, and I represent Berkshire Hathaway.
Awesome. And we also have Joel. So Joel, go ahead and also give me the same introduction.
So my full name is Joel Panduro. I've been in the finance industry since 2008. I've been originator for 10 years now.
Nice.
And I'm with Guaranteed Rate.
Very cool. So we have two great professionals here in studio today. We have a lender and a loan officer. A loan officer and a realtor. They've been doing it for a while. And my question to you guys, and we were just talking outside the air, and Joel's like, "Yeah, let's get that done and everything." We're like, my question to you guys is, I see you guys production as a team, because you guys work together as a team, but also individually. You guys are busy quite all the time.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because there's other agents and there are other loan officers like, man, business is rough right now, man. I can't close deals and everything. Why is it that you guys are busy and other agents are not? Can you guys tell me what you guys do in your day-to-day to stay busy? Joe?
I think we're very relationship based.
Okay.
So for us, we like to help families. Mm-hmm. We don't view it as a transaction. We view it more as like, we're going to help you.
Okay.
We want to help your kids. We want to help your tia. We want to help everybody and the whole family.
Nice.
So the way that we stay busy, and Angel can attest to this, is we just don't help you. We want to develop that relationship to help your family.
Right.
And all of our business, especially right now, it's our repeat clients that we helped before, all referral based. Mm-hmm. So we take great pride in are just being honest, dude. And honestly, like, it's simple. We actually care.
That's good.
We give
and it's all education too, right? Because from sending out emails about like what's going on in the market, talking to them, sending them out messages, and communicating with them. We've had a lot of people from like 2022 where they were looking to buy and they couldn't. Because either their mortgage is going to be too big, or anything, and now we're just touching base back with them and be like, hey, we tried 3 years ago, now we're looking good, let's move forward.
That's awesome, because a lot of the real estate agents, they want a now transaction, right?
Oh, we all do, right? That's ideal.
How cool will it be? And you know what? And I always ask this question to my professionals, but how cool will it be, or how often in the many years of you guys doing this, how often have you guys had a person that came in and said, hey, I'm thinking of buying? They go to Joel, and Joel's like, dude, this is a perfect client. Let's qualify it. And then the weekend over, they find a house. And then by Monday, literally in a weekend, they find a house. How often has that really happened in your transaction?
Once a year, no?
Maybe once or twice a year, yeah.
Right?
But
we're lucky.
Yeah.
But I guess the moral of the story is everybody needs time.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody needs coaching when it comes down to purchase a home. And like Angel was saying, sometimes you have to fall back to people that tried to do it 3-4 years ago, and now they're in a better position, right?
Right. And patience more than anything.
Okay.
Yeah, patience is a big deal, So it's got to be patient with people. I feel like a lot of people sometimes want their concerns addressed, they want their questions answered, and sometimes, everybody can say, oh, don't worry about it, this or that. Like, no, you actually got to explain to people,
Right.
The biggest thing right now, everybody wants down payment assistance, which is great, it's exceptional. A lot of people market the down payment, a lot of people market the no money down, but when people don't qualify for that aspect, you got to explain to them why. You got to give them the other options, and that's something that Angel and I take great pride in. And the thing too is, like, we actually listen to you. Angel is really good at negotiating with the seller. I do all the numbers. I help people out with their credit, whatever it takes. But Angel's also really, really good at negotiating, and he's not scared to ask for things.
Good.
He's not scared to ask for things.
And you know what? Let's talk about that, Angel. Let's put you on the spot right now. Right now, last time I did my stats, there's over 6,700 listings out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of inventory.
That's double of everything that we've known. Normally we create like 3,000.
Right? How hard or easy is for you to come in and really be aggressive and you're negotiating to help your buyer to either come very little out of pocket or use funds to buy the interest rate down. Is it hard? Is it flexible? Is it nearly impossible? Or just your years of experience been like, you know what, hey, let's put it out there. Real estate is a give and take. Right. Yeah. You give and you take. You take and you give. Right. And some people are like, no. Yo me pongo los monchos, and they have to give me the whole house down. And they're like, no, it doesn't work that way either. How does your years of experience have helped to negotiate that and to really set up Joel to be able to do a really phenomenal loan when you have closing costs and you have all of this extra money available?
Yeah, no, it's all basically based off the factors of the listing.
Okay.
In the area, you got to see how long it's been on the market, how long, not just that house, but everything around it. Right? Because you can put a beautiful house, and it's going to be first day on the market, but all the houses around it are still like 30, 40 days.
Right.
Now we know that house it's going to have a long shelf life, right? So just being that, I know I can get closing costs.
Right.
I can throw in home warranty. I can throw in, having other fees being covered. And we've had it where people come in, with just their down payment, or not even their down payment because they use a program, and they buy the house with zero.
Right.
All they have to do is worry about their mortgage the next month.
Right. And that's another cool point that you just brought up. Joel, explain to me, why is it that if you close your transaction, let's say right now, April the 30th, your payment is not due till 2 months later, right? And people need to understand that as well, that you're not closing at the 30th and then the first you're paying mortgage. There is a period of time for you to go ahead and get acclimated to start making those payments, right?
Yeah, so there's a grace period. A lot of people want to, their lease ends in August or so. So they're like, how soon can I start looking for a home? Because I don't want to have double the rent.
Right.
Well, usually the way that it works, the month that you close, of course, you're going to have a mortgage payment that month. You don't have a mortgage payment the following month up to the second month after that. And the thing too, a lot of people don't understand is you have what's called a grace period. Your mortgage is due between the 1st and the 15th. You get to select the date, whatever's convenient for you, and you make it happen.
Right.
One thing I do want to go back on is what Angel touched about in regards to how he does so well in negotiating.
Yeah.
So we work really good as a team. We trust one another. When Angel has a client and he sends it over, I just tell Angel, look, the borrower has X amount of funds. They only have enough for the down payment. I need you to give me X amount of dollars for the closing costs.
Okay.
Angel doesn't question it. He goes and says, all right, Joe, I got you. He goes out there and does his thing, comes back to me, and it lines up perfectly with what the buyer's expectations are. That way we're all pretty much winning. So it's just pretty neat.
Right.
Even if he tells me, hey, they have down payment, they can get closing costs, I'm still going to go out there and ask for closing costs. I'm still going to go out there ask for home warranties.
Right.
I'm still going to ask to get escrow fees covered. Just because I want the buyer to be able to go out and furnish the home. To have extra funds for a rainy day or anything like that.
Right.
And as a seller, the same way. Like, I'm trying to save them as much money as possible for themselves. So it's
right. And one of the other things, because I know that not only you, Angel, work with buyers, because the majority of people that you work with is buyers, but also you help sellers understand this, right? And one of the things that I have been speaking to a lot of real estate professionals is not always to go to the seller and say, just lower the price, because then that impacts the whole neighborhood, right? You want to make sure that, they are more flexible within the incentives, because that's going to help the buyer in the long run, and it's going to be more attractive for somebody if you already put in the listing, hey, we're willing to give X amount of dollars for credit, for a buy down on the interest rate or something, right? How important is for sellers to really understand also that the market as well is that you got to be able to give a little bit to hopefully sell your home, because you don't want to be sitting 40, 50, 60 days in the market, right?
Right, and it's all about education.
Right.
It goes back about setting the expectation and letting them know. I always for example, always print out 2 net sheets. I'm like, hey, this is the perfect scenario. This is worst case scenario.
Right.
We're probably going to meet somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
All right. You're going to have to pay closing costs most likely. And they're like, oh, I don't want to pay. I'm like, all right, if you don't pay, your neighbor's going to do it.
Yeah.
The other house down the street's going to do it. So it's like you're competing. It's not just yourself. You're competing against everybody else that's selling their house in Las Vegas or all in Southern Nevada.
Yeah.
Right? Because most people are open. Buyers are open. Like, hey, I'm okay with this zip code. I'm okay with this school. Like open, moving around. But you just got to set that expectation. Like, hey, we got to know you might be getting closing costs. You might be getting home warranty. You might be paying for other fees. Let's budget for it, right?
Right.
Let's put the price that you're going to be okay listing, and know that we might go down a little bit or we can go up a little bit. You know, just you have to play with the numbers with them. And
Right.
Be realistic.
Be on board with them.
Right. Now, the other thing is that, you know, the majority of the people that you guys help purchase son hispanos.
Yeah.
Right.
So we do a lot of those.
La comunidad hispana ahorita no le está importando cuánto está el crédito porque ellos quieren comprar. Háblenme de cómo manejan ustedes ese mercado hispano y cómo educan ustedes a la comunidad hispana.
Es la transparencia, es ser honesto.
Okay.
Obviamente nosotros hispanos siempre queremos todo, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Pero la realidad es que hay que ser honestos con nosotros y saber exactamente qué es la realidad. Porque sí, hay mucha gente hispanos, pero honestamente Ángel y yo también perdemos muchos clientes hispanos.
Okay.
Y te explico esto.
Por favor.
Nosotros somos muy honestos y nos reímos porque perdemos gente, porque le decimos así es como trabaja, así es como va a ser la cosa.
Claro.
Esto es lo que ocupan, este va a ser el interés, este va a ser el pago.
Ajá.
Podría me estar diciendo esto. Y Ángel y yo decimos, esta es la realidad, así va a ser. Esto es lo que es. Los números no están echando mentiras. Estos son lo que son. Claro. Y desafortunadamente se van. Y luego, ¿qué es lo que pasa? Cuando están a punto de final allá, Joel, Ángel, ¿nos puedes traer un favor? Sí, claro. ¿Puedes ver los números? Ok, esto es lo que le están diciendo comparado a que nosotros le dijimos. Claro. Entonces no era verdad. No.
Claro.
Es lo que es desafortunadamente en la comunidad hispana. A veces nos gusta escuchar que alguien nos diga lo que queremos escuchar.
100%.
Pero la realidad es que hay que ser honestos con nosotros. Y la gente que les ayudamos a la comunidad hispana siempre están bien agradecidos porque del principio al final es lo mismo que les dijimos. El principio no hay sorpresa al final.
Claro. Ángel.
No, especialmente porque es algo nuevo, ¿verdad? Para cualquier cliente hispano.
Claro.
Han comprado casas anterior aquí en Estados Unidos o lo que sea, pero en su país anterior no es muy común que vayan con un agente, con un prestamista, que hablen con ellos, ¿verdad? Más o menos es, hey, ¿cuánto quieres dejarme en la casa? Entre ellos,
claro,
¿verdad? Y entonces ahora tienen ese equipo que los va a representar. Y es algo que primero está difícil porque nos ven casi como nada contra ellos, pero car salesman. Entonces digo, mira, no somos así. Tratamos de explicarle todo. Vamos con los números. Joel explica mira, eso es lo que va a ser del enganche. Eso es los closing costs. Eso, de los closing costs, aquí se compra su interés, todo esto. Por ejemplo, tenemos nuestro buyer broker que se usa para la comisión de la gente, ¿verdad? Yo les explico, mira, aquí eso es el porcentaje que se cobra, lo voy a negociar. Y a veces, muchas veces, sí hay compradores que dicen, oye, me tocó pagar casi $4,000 más para el servicio de la gente.
Right.
Y le digo, mira, no debía. Digo, puede ser que lo tomaban de ventaja o y algo así, pero no.
No, y seamos honestos, right? Y no queremos ofender a nadie.
No, claro.
Seamos honestos, no queremos, pero tenemos que hablarlo.
Sí.
Hay mucho personaje en las redes sociales, en la televisión, en la radio, que aparentan ser agentes de bienes raíces, pero realmente están ahí nomás, como dicen ustedes. Le dicen una cosa, le hablan bonito al oído para que lleguen a la oficina y después le terminan vendiendo algo mucho más caro, con más fees y todo eso. Y la gente después dice, oye, ¿y luego qué pasó? ¿No?
¿Qué pasó?
Recordemos de que la gente que están en la televisión, en la radio, ellos pagan por esos servicios. Y estar en la televisión no es nada barato.
Claro.
Usted, el público que está afuera, ponga atención en eso. Si Joel y Ángel están diciendo, ahorita tal vez no es el momento, o este es el paso, los pasos que tienen que hacer, es porque ellos realmente están diciéndole, right now is not the time to buy.
Lo que le beneficia.
Exacto, ¿no?
Y si nos ha tocado decirle gente, mira, en 6 meses va a estar listo. En 1 año, en 2, ¿verdad? Tenemos mucha gente que cada 3 meses me manda un mensaje, yo le mando un mensaje, le digo, mira, todavía el interés sigue alto, todavía no le conviene comprar porque no está el precio que usted quiere.
Claro, claro. No, y eso es excelente porque una vez más, el público necesita entender de que en veces el profesional que le dice, no, ahorita no es el momento, esperemos, hagamos un plan, sigan el plan, estén con disciplina, asegúrense que ahorren dinero, mejoren su crédito y todo. Es el profesional que realmente les está ayudando, no el otro que dice, vengan que rapidito, quiere casa de volada, yo le ayudo. Y eso no es así.
Y también hay que tener mucho cuidado cuando hablen con un prestamista. Nunca hay que pagar para un servicio que no ha recibido. Porque desafortunadamente hemos tenido bastantes clientes que vienen a la oficina, les ayudamos Me ha pasado donde al final de la consulta me dicen, ok, gracias, Joel, ¿cuánto debemos? Dije, pues nada.
Yeah.
Y luego me tocó otra vez, ok, Joel, gracias, ¿cuánto debemos? Y ya después de la tercera, ya empecé a preguntar, ¿han pagado antes? Sí, fui allá, no voy a decir nombres, fui allá.
No, digamos nombres. No se mentira.
Fui allá y me cobraron 500 para la consulta. Dije,
wow. Sí, y eso es un problema realmente que desafortunadamente en nuestra comunidad hispana está sucediendo, ¿no? Seamos honestos. Todos estamos aquí en la industria por muchos años. Ustedes tienen ya muchos años en la industria y todo. Y el plan de nosotros es quedarnos en la industria por muchos años más. Ustedes están jóvenes, están chavos todavía. Esta carrera lo puedes hacer hasta que tengas edad ya muy alta ayudando a la gente. Y el orgullo es realmente poner a la gente en sus casas. No? I could imagine that you guys' satisfaction, besides getting paid, because everybody has to get paid, right? Is handing keys over to that buyer or the family that thought 6 months ago that were like, I wasn't gonna buy. I didn't even have it here to think I'm gonna buy, and now I'm getting my keys handed over. Talk to me about that handing keys over experience. How cool is it for you?
It's pretty cool because each person has their own story.
Right.
And I've had people who are like, they've been renting their whole lives, and then they finally buy. Having them go into the house, opening the door for themselves for the first time.
Yeah.
Having their whole family, having mom and dad coming with them, or just it's a really cool experience. Sometimes I even it's funny because sometimes I have them where like they just arrive with the U-Haul when I give them their keys and they're ready to go. They're excited. We just had a family. They were in Kingman? Was it Kingman?
Yeah.
Kingman, Arizona?
Yeah, Kingman. Bullhead.
Oh, okay.
Bullhead for the last 4 years. And he works here in Nevada, and he would drive every single day.
Oh, wow.
And they finally bought now in Southern Nevada, and they're 30-minute commute.
That's
back
awesome.
to normal. And he's like, I get to spend more time with my family.
Yeah.
So, every story is special, and it feels good, having them,
But the best thing too is when they start building their portfolio. That's rewarding, man. That's so cool. When they're like, want to buy one, and then next thing you know, they're like, you guys made it so easy. And then I was like, call us back in a year. We want to go ahead and build a portfolio more. And sure enough, hey, Joe, want to buy another one? How easy is it? We explain the process, like, okay, that wasn't bad. Let's buy another one. And next thing you know, we have clients that have 4 or 5 homes now that we helped, and it's pretty cool. We help parents who bought their first home when their daughter was, having her quinceañera, and the daughter is calling us now that she's 25, getting married. They want to buy their own home for their family, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, that's a trip because you're like, okay, how long was this?
Yeah.
Yes.
I helped you it feels like 2 years ago, but it's helped you more than 7.
Right.
Like 7 years ago.
So
interesting, man.
It's so cool because you guys are helping our community, right? Or any community. Right now, we're not just talking about the Hispanic community, but the community to really create generational wealth.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
And that is something that nobody teaches you in school. Nobody really talks to you about when you're young. Let's remember when we were in high school, nobody really talked to us about, take care of your credit, make sure you have savings. They taught you how to write a check.
Financial literacy,
right? Yeah, but, now you guys are literally living it. And like you said, when you have a mom and mom and dad buying a house and you have the young 10, 12, 14-year-old person, kid being part of that, and now they're reaching out to you guys and saying, hey, I am ready to buy. That speaks volumes.
It's awesome, and they went from being the translator, helping them with the IT, with signing the e-sign documents, and now being the actual buyer.
Right. So I actually have here the 2025 Hispanic NAREP, home ownership report.
Yeah.
And one of the cool stats in here is that 47% of the transactions that are being bought are being bought by Hispanic families.
Yeah.
And out of those, the average age group is 33 years old.
Yeah.
Right? So we're having young Hispanic families buying their houses. Unlike any other sectors that are in the non-Hispanics, the average year of the average age of a buyer is 57 years old.
Yeah.
That's a 25-year experience, 25-year difference. For you guys, helping the young Latinos to really jump in and say, hey, this is what you get. And they're smarter. They know how to use the internet. They know how to use everything. Like you said, they start building their portfolio. If I just bought with you guys, and my plan is to buy another home within a year or 2 years, what do I need to do as a homeowner for the next year to make sure I'm set up to come back to you guys and be able to purchase a second home? Give me that lowdown.
Keep up the same things that you did and the same habits that you had in place when you bought your first one.
Okay.
you know, when you buy your first home, you care a lot about your credit. You care a lot about saving. You care a lot about how everything's going to look on paper, about your mortgage payment and so forth. When you want to buy your second home, care about it the same way you did about your first home. And amazing things will happen.
Okay. And now, Angel, for you is once I buy my personal home and I'm looking for an investment home, what are the features that I should be worried about? Because when I'm buying my house, it's like, oh, I want with a pool and I want this and I want that because it's my personal home. But when you're thinking of an investment home, what are the really things that are going to be impactful for you to get, return on your investment?
Right. So I always tell them, like, hey, easy, something that gives you easy service, right? Easy maintenance for you. Because, you don't want to go all luxury into your investment home and having to replace a bathtub because it cracked or something, just want to keep it easy, simple for yourself and low maintenance.
Okay.
No pool because, you want to keep your power down.
Okay, that's
solar
important.
homes that have solar, and it's like, all right, do I pay for solar or do I just get no solar? I mean, it's better no solar if you're going to rent it out.
Yes.
Yeah,
because a lot of things could go wrong while you have a renter, right? And let's be honest, there's some renters that are responsible and they'll take care of the home, but there's some of them they're just like, I just pay the rent, I'm doing the bare minimum, and now you're responsible for that maintenance of the house, the repairs and everything. How important is for somebody to really understand that part of becoming an investor, right?
Yeah,
because now you have extra costs. Now you have to make sure that you have money in the bank for any repairs. I mean, let's be honest, a water heater breaks down in my house. My personal house is what, $1,400, $1,500, $1,600, $2,200, depending on the size of it. Now you're doing that repair in a rental home.
Right.
That money needs to be somewhere, right? How important is for people to understand that the financial aspect of becoming a landlord needs to be more specific now than ever, because you do have those repairs, something that just happen overnight.
Yeah, one thing I will say though is a lot of our clients, sometimes when especially the younger clients, right, Angel, they always want to buy a home, and right off the bat they say, this is my starter home, this is not my forever home, I'm going to turn this into an investment one day. When they have that already in their mind, then we put a game plan together, like, okay, so you say you want to buy this home with the intention of renting it out in a couple of years so you can start building your portfolio. Then at that point, Angel finds them that home that they're looking for, and the client already knows that it's not their ideal home, but it's more like a stepping stone to get them there.
Right.
And when they understand that, they're already set up, and they already have the right mentality where they know they got to have some savings saved up for those things that do occur.
Right.
Which is pretty neat.
And a lot of people think it's impossible, but it's not impossible.
No,
it's just
actually
discipline, right?
It's just discipline, and it's actually based on the feedback that we get. It's usually when they buy the home, they're like, "Oh, that was easy.
Yeah,
that's all I had to put down. I was working on saving X amount, much more money. When you might have a lot of savings, but if you don't really need it, then just go ahead and save it."
And that's how normally it works too, because they'll reach out and they'll be like, "Hey, we want to buy an investment home."
Right.
And we talk to them and we're like, "What about if you rent out the house that you have right now and buy yourself a bigger house or something that a different area now for yourself?" And they tend to do that too. It's easier for them already going in and saying, "Okay, I'm leaving my house behind. I'm looking something again for myself."
Right.
And they already know this house because they already put a new water heater or the AC because it's new.
That's true.
They know what's been in there, because sometimes you go in houses and you're like, it sounds funny.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be there anymore. What is this hanging on here?
Yeah. When you turn on the air conditioner, you hear that. It's like maybe it needs to be replaced at one point, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So you know what? And that's a great point. Let's talk about how important it is for a buyer to really get an inspection done. And you know what? I know that a lot in our Latino community, like, oh, mi compadre, does this, and he's gonna come and check it out. Like, no. You should have a inspection done by a licensed inspector, because it's just for you to really understand what the status of the home is at the current moment.
Right.
How important is for people to really not waive those fees and saying, I do not want to do an inspection by a licensed inspector, because there is a cost to that, but it's I think it's a saving cost.
Yeah, it's a savings cost and a peace of mind, because I always recommend 3 inspectors, and I say, hey, here's 3. You can pick from them, or you can go and get somebody else.
Right.
I'm like, but I already know how these 3 work. And you can go out and do your inspection. It's so important because there's so many things as consumers that we don't know. Right. Especially like, for example, if you're buying a car, we open the hood, but what are we looking at?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, everything's
so
good.
right? That is so true.
Nothing's clicking. It sounds good, right?
Yeah.
So now the inspector, he's seen good homes, bad homes. He's seen every single Mickey Mouse fix that they've done.
Oh yeah.
Right. So it's so important to have an inspection, and it's pricey. Can vary from like $400 to $800. But you have that peace of mind, and now we also have another negotiation tactic for us, right? Because if we can get the repairs done, we can get more money towards your closing costs. We can say, hey, you know what? This house is not for us. We can walk away,
right?
Because there's too much damage or too much repairs that have to be done.
And that's really cool to know, because again, right? Everybody falls in love with the house. Let's be honest. They're pretty, right? They get emotional with the house when they come in, and they're like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. But then the inspector comes in, and he's looking at it like, this is my job to really find what's wrong or what could potentially go wrong with the house. And they're looking at the house in a totally different manner that the homeowner is, or the new buyers coming in, and then they're getting the report, and like you said, now you got to negotiate, and now you got to go ahead and ask for a little bit of repairs and everything. Joel, explain to me and to the audience, what is the difference between the inspection and you guys ordering an appraisal? Because a lot of people get 100% confused, pero ya hicieron la inspección, ¿por qué necesito un evalúo? But it's two totally different things.
Two totally different things, yeah. So the inspection is completely optional, but it's highly recommended for that specific reason that Angel just touched about. The appraisal is the one that's conducted by the bank to protect you as a homeowner, to ensure that the amount that you're buying the home for is actually worth that. Because the bank is not going to lend less than what the home is worth.
Correct.
And one of the things that we're seeing right now in this market, believe it or not, we're seeing that the appraisals are coming in much higher than what they're buying the home for. On top of that, they're getting the closing costs covered, which is pretty neat. But yeah, the inspection completely optional, but highly recommended. The appraisal, it's required, and it's also, of course, to cover the bank and to cover yourself as well.
Right. And that's funny that you mentioned that right now you're looking at appraisals coming in a little bit higher, if not at the same price, but a little bit higher than what the sales price is. 6 months ago, what did that look like?
Yeah, no, it's, things are changing by
every week,
every day. It's so interesting, because the rates are just all over the place.
Right.
But one thing I will say though is that people are starting to realize, like, okay, I can't control the rate. As long as I'm comfortable with the payment, I just hope and pray that my financial situation gets better. So if I can afford it now, I'm definitely going to be able to afford it down the road.
Right.
A couple months ago, even a couple weeks ago, people were just saying, well, the rate is too high or this and that. I'm not hearing about the rate is too high now. Now I'm hearing people saying, you know what, the rate is what it is. Eventually they'll have to come down. If I can afford the payment now, I'll take it. I'll worry about the payment later.
Yeah. And you know what, I do 100% agree with you, because for us, the on the escrow side, right, we gauge our business by the amount of escrows and contracts that are being opened. And the month of February was pretty slow. The month of March was a little bit better. But this 3 weeks of April that we're going in, man, it has been insane of how many transactions have been put together. And I think it has a lot to do with also the real estate agents on the listing side and the buyer side saying, okay, we have to figure the price down so it sells. Because anybody could try to sell the house and say, oh, my house is worth, $3 million, but in reality, it's not. How important is that communication before you even submit an offer, for you to contact the listing agent saying, hey, let's try to put this deal together. Let's try to, figure out what the terms are going to be, because the terms is what really make the deal happen overall. You could have a cash buyer and they're kind of lowball and they're not going to offer it. They're not going to accept the offer. How important is for you, Angel, to understand and really know what the mindset of the listing agent and the seller is going to be, to make sure that you're able to open escrow? Because at the end of the day, that's the success, opening escrow, and then the closing is a totally different story, right? But at least how to put that deal together for your buyer to make sure that it makes sense for everybody.
Yeah, open common ground. Okay. Meet a common ground and have open communication with that agent. I know Joel also reaches out to them. And he's like, hey, this buyer is fully approved. I've already done all my research on my end. I'm always checking, like, hey, what is your seller willing to do?
Right.
Some agents are hard to contact. Right? They don't tell you anything. You call an office and it just sounds like a fax number. Some other agents, you can tell when they want to put the effort, when they want to work for their client.
Nice.
And they'll tell you, like, hey, my client is kind of like really tight on their budget. You know, they can give you maybe potentially X amount of closing costs.
Right.
You know, send us the offer though. You know, we will try to work with you. And our main goal, besides, you know, making money, is closing for our clients,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
For closing buying purchases and closing sales on listings. So if we're not having those communications or conversations with agents, it's like you're not even doing your job.
Right.
So every listing I'm going to show, I reach out like, hey, either it's through text or a phone call.
Okay.
Like, hey, do you have any offers? What is your client going to willing to do? Because I want to go in and tell my client when we're looking at the house, I'm like, hey, they have no offers. I did talk to the agent. They're willing to work with you, you know, for your closing costs. They're willing to work with you, you know, on the price if we bring it down a little bit.
Right.
You know.
So let me ask you this then, Angel. We don't have those days where you were showing 20 plus homes in a day.
Yeah, no.
You are being very strategic on the type of homes you're going to show your client based on location, obviously, needs, right? How many bedrooms, how many bath, whatever. But most of it is you're having those conversations with this agent saying, what is it that you're willing to negotiate? Right. There are some agents, they're like, we're not negotiating nothing, you know, and yes, you still go show the home, but you know, the most likely you're probably not going to submit an offer in that transaction because you need to be negotiable, right? It has to be a negotiable factor in it. How important is for your buyers to be very honest with you and transparent of really why they're looking for a house? Because, you know, maybe they want a house in Summerlin for $400,000 and that is not happening, but they need to be understandable and be open-minded and saying, you know what, maybe we could buy something adjacent to Summerlin, you know, or maybe there's a school area that they need to go to and everything. How important is to have that conversation from the get-go with your buyer to make sure that you find them the right home in the valley?
Yeah. So I tend to have like a buyer consultation. Okay. You know, just sit down. Either if we can't meet somewhere, it'll be over the phone. It's about 30 minutes long. Okay. And then I ask them, hey, what zip codes do you want? How many bedrooms? What are we looking for? Where do you, the number one question or the number one thing that we forget as a consumer is where we work. Right? Yeah. So they tell me like, I want to live in Sky Canyon, and they work in Henderson. Oh boy. And I'll be like, hey, are you sure that's like a 45-minute commute? Yeah. And you know, so they tend to forget, but those are just the things that you have to ask, and you just got to make sure, have those conversations with them. They have to tell you like, hey, my son is going into high school now. I want him to go to, I don't know, just throw a school out there, Arborview. Yeah. You know, throw Arborview High School, and you're like, all right, perfect. These are the zoned areas for Arborview. All right, so it's important for me to tell me because I can drive all around town. Right. And some people are okay with it. And they're like, I just want a house for $400,000. I just want to see what's out there. And I'm okay showing you homes in the Southwest. I'm okay showing you homes in, you know, in Aliante and then going to Henderson. You know, and then they're like, all right, the second round. I'm like, which area did you like better? Right. Which area did you like better? What did you not like from the houses? You know, what? You gotta keep having those conversations because if not, we're just gonna be going like crazy. You know, that's very true though. And you know, I normally show 5 or 6 homes the first time, right? And then I lower it down to 3 because we're trying to like bring it down. It's always like speed dating, right? Because you only see it for like 10-15 minutes. That is true. You see it for 10-15 minutes, and then once the inspection, appraisal, everything starts to happen, we go back. When you're like, I decided on this house, we go back and see them, and then that's when you're actually dating the house. Yeah. And then you decide, you're like, yeah, then, you know, I'll keep moving forward. Right. So it's very important. You know, they have to tell me what they want, where they want it, because the main thing is location. Yeah. You know, and it's like they want to be in Spring Valley, but and it's all centered. I know all the benefits of it. So it's like, I work in Sunrise Mountain. I'm like, that's about 30 minutes. They're like, okay, perfect. You know, and how is the schools? And I'm like, I can't tell you, but here's a list on seeing the levels of schools that you can pick from.
You know, I love the analogy that Angel was talking about, how you're dating the class, you know, you're dating the house and everything. But in the mortgage side, you guys have a saying that, you know, you date the rate and you marriage the mortgage, right? A lot of people need to understand that, you know, with the interest rates that are happening right now, they're not going to stay this high forever. Correct. If I buy a house now with the way that the interest rate is and the interest rate drops, how easy is for me to adjust that interest rate to a lower interest rate? You know, what kind of loan do I need to get to? How do I need to get prepared for that aspect? Because we all know that that's what everybody's telling them. Correct. But, you know, maybe people are like, well, what do I do at this point, right? So what do you do in that aspect, Angel? How do you educate your consumer saying you're buying at this rate, but when it drops down, these are the steps and these are the type of things we're going to do for you?
Yeah, that's actually a good point because a lot of people talk about that, you know, and they always come and ask me, okay, Joe, what do I have to do to refinance down the road? You know, usually I get that asked at the closing table. Okay, this is a rate. I heard you gave me a great rate, Joe, which is awesome, but how can I get it even lower down the future?
Right.
I'm gonna just keep up the same habits, you know, take care of your credit, be on time, don't miss a payment, don't take out any other unnecessary debt. Just be the same. Treat your credit the same way you treated when you bought the home.
Right.
And you'll be okay once the rates do go down.
Let me ask you another question, because the myth out there is that if I pay off my credit cards, I'm going to have a better FICO score. And sometimes that doesn't happen.
No, that doesn't happen. Yeah, credit is such a very unique topic.
Right.
In the way that a lot of people always assume, and I'll touch on this as well.
Please.
A lot of people always assume that, you know, my credit card shows this FICO. Why I see that when you pull it, it's a different FICO. I have this conversation at least once a week. You know, and I don't mind having it.
Right.
But we got to look at the scoring model, the FICO scoring model that gets used depending on what you're buying it for. So if you go to the car dealership, they're going to put your credit, you're going to get a different FICO. If you look at the Credit Karma, you're going to get a different FICO. If you look all the way at the bottom, it's going to say Advantage Score 3.0 or whatever it is. When you get your credit pull for mortgage, we're going to pull a different credit score. So the way that it works is pretty much depending on what the purpose is for. That's going to determine your credit, your FICO. Whenever you want to get pre-approved for mortgage, a lot of people actually don't know this. You can get pre-approved for mortgage with what's called a soft pull.
Okay.
So when you come with me, I do a whole financial analysis at no charge whatsoever, and I don't ding your credit. I do what's called a soft pull.
Okay.
So soft pull is pretty similar to a hard inquiry, except you don't get that inquiry part of it.
Okay.
It still gives me your three credit scores from Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and it still gives me the debt that you have on your credit. So I'm able to pre-approve you based on that without having to ding your credit at no cost to you. Pretty neat.
That's pretty cool because again, right, a lot of people maybe are sitting here and saying, well, you know, my credit is not the greatest, and they have really good credit. And then you have the confident
Correct.
people that are like, oh, my credit is great, and you're like, you're at a negative 300. I don't think you
No, I've had those people that show me their Credit Karma that like it shows, you know, 502. I don't know what you're gonna pull, and I pull it, it's a 620. They're like, oh, okay, so that actually works. I'm like, yeah, the purpose is different. You know.
So you're telling me that the credit scoring depends on what you're pulling it for.
Correct.
It's kind of like when, you know, sellers or people, because let's be honest, Angel and Joel, when people are looking for homes, they're like, oh, I'm going to look at homes, and they go to, you know, Zillow, and they go to all these, you know, Redfin, and you go to all these websites that they're telling you, oh, the prices on this neighborhood is this much, and that reality, it's nothing like it. How important is for people to really get with a professional that understands and that kind of pull and give you the right numbers? Because anybody could get a estimate, but at the end of the day, you know, the price of the home is the price of the home. Right. So
yeah, the automated estimate is it tends to be like off maybe like 80% of the time.
Okay.
Right. So,
wow, that's a lot.
Right? So I've had people they're like, I have $1 million house.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, like if you run the comps, we're running it through your neighborhood and the area. You know, I'm like, we're like 950. You know, or backwards. They're like, hey, my house shows 450, but like I run comps and I'm like, hey, it's actually about 500,000. Right? So it's a big difference.
Right.
But it's so important because we are able to like narrow down and kind of think like an appraiser, right? And we were like appraising 2-story homes. Where like 2-story homes can only be appraised by other 2-story homes. Right. So you can't use the 1-story home and say, okay, this 1-story is 3,000 square feet, but this 2-story is 3,000 square feet. They're completely different. Yeah. Right. So the automatic estimates that other companies use, you know, that don't tend to use agents or have a brokerage, those are just getting the area's estimate, and they're getting your square footage, and they're just estimating on that area. That's why it's off.
Yeah, right. So, you know, you just brought something that it caught my attention, and I think it's important to discuss. Right. Also, when you're buying a house, you guys also make sure that the price it's been priced correctly. Right. But you mentioned something that said just because you have two-story homes, they're not the same. Right. And you guys are as professionals, you guys want to go ahead and compare apples to apples as close as you can to make sure that you guys get that really price point.
Right.
Buyers, again, they see numbers in the computer from websites and everything, right? But they also need to understand that that's why they're hiring a professional for you guys to give them your opinion, right? Obviously, they're gonna make the last decision,
Right, of course.
But they want to trust. They need to trust your guys' guidance and opinion, right?
Yeah, they do, especially when you look online.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest thing is when you look online, you're gonna get a mortgage calculator, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So if you look on those famous websites, it's gonna say the mortgage payment is only $1,800. Yeah, but scroll the way down, read the fine asterisk in the fine print. It says $1,800 based on 20% down, based on a bunch of different scenarios. Yeah, and the 3% interest is like, let's just. Whenever you look at a mortgage payment, you got to look at, of course, your principal and interest, which is determined by your interest rate. You got to look at the property taxes. You got to look at the home insurance. You got to look at the mortgage insurance. You got to look at the HOA and so forth. So the reality of it is we're completely transparent where we tell people this is your estimated mortgage payment, including your property taxes, your property insurance, your HOA and everything.
Right.
One of the reasons why we're so successful, not only because we trust each other, but I tell Angel the maximum they qualify for is $400,000, but the property tax and HOA cannot exceed this amount because that's the amount that we discuss with the borrowers and that keeps the mortgage payment right where they want it.
Okay.
That's why at the end.
And I'll come back and be like, can we push it?
Right, of course.
But that's we're just transparency right from the beginning. It's impossible. I tell people it's impossible to be right to the penny from the beginning.
Right.
But we're pretty darn close at the end.
That's cool because I was teaching a class yesterday about settlement statement at one of the offices, and I said if you guys are not the type of agents that when you guys provide your net sheet at the beginning, and you guys are not comparing it with the settlement statement, and you guys are not close within $10, and you don't get excited about that, you need to be able to start figuring out that money numbers are more important than actual the house, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, you're telling Angel's like, hey, this is the limit, and Angel's like, can we go a little bit more? But how important is this relationship, this trust that you have on each other, that if Joel tells you, hey, this is it, you're going to be like, all right, you're not going to go show them $100,000 more than what they're asking, right? You have to trust your partner to understand that this is the best for the client. Yeah. How important is that relationship for the consumer to understand that this is the reason why you guys work so close together?
Yes, I know I have Joel on the weekends. Okay. Right? I can call him any moment. And if I'm showing home houses on Saturday, I want, and they tell me like, I want to put an offer on this house. How much is my payment? How much am I going to get my cash to close? I can call Joel and be like, hey,
these numbers
Saturday at 8 p.m. I'm like, hey, can you give me the numbers real quick? And he's like, oh yeah, I got you. Just give me a few hours and put the kids down to sleep.
Yeah.
And then at 10 o'clock he sends it to me, and then at 11 I send it to the buyer, or vice versa, because he'll send me like his cash to close. He's like, hey, this is how it looks, and and I know exactly how to explain everything. From his net sheet to the buyer. So that's very important because he's showing me, and you have to communicate that,
right?
Because if he's gone, I can tell him, hey, this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah. So now, Joel, in your aspect, how important is to have a realtor that, first of all, stays in his lane, but also understands and supports what you're telling him, and doesn't come in and say, no, Joel doesn't know what he's talking about. We could go to another bank and do everything. How important is to have that trust on him for the actual consumer? No,
I've known him forever, Not only that, but no, realistically, with all my agents, I take pride in relationships. I take pride in my numbers and transparency. If Joel's myself, if I'm going to issue a pre-approval, because it's going to close. I've trained all my agents to the point where I'm like, this is how much they qualify for. Give your property taxes and HOA at this figure, and give me this amount from closing costs. Not a single agent pushes back and says, no. They're okay, got you, Joel. All right.
Cool.
That's it. And then next thing you know, the contract comes in, exactly what I asked for.
That's awesome.
So Angel's extremely really good at doing that. I'm like, look, they have X amount of money. I need you to give me X amount from closing costs, and this is the max they qualify for.
Right.
And he goes to work, and then the contract comes in.
All right. Well, now the next question is, I got to throw myself in there. How important is to have a trusted title company to help close the transaction as well, right? Because the consumer doesn't, they want to buy a house. What do? They call the agent first. Then they go to the lender, right? And we're the last stop. Like we've had scenarios where people come in and like they're scared because we don't know who you guys are, right? How important is
through email, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, just through email. How important is for the consumer and for you guys to really have a trusted closing company to make sure that everything gets handled the way that has to be handled.
It's everything, man. It's part of the process. We're all a team. It's part of the experience, you know? If they have a bad experience with me, that means that they already have a bad experience with Angel. They already have an experience with JC, with the title company.
Right.
You know, we're all cohesive in the part that we take pride in our work. So everything goes so smooth. We're viewed as a team. So having the fact that we have the title company that has our back, because, you know, people don't see the title company, like Angel said, only by email.
Yeah.
At the end of the closing table, they're coming to your office to sign.
Right.
If that experience, for whatever reason, it's never happened, but if it goes bad, then that reflects poorly on us.
100%.
So it's extremely important that you guys have our back as much as we have yours to make an experience just a 5-star.
Right. That's pretty cool. Now, the other question is this. I know you guys known each other for a long time. How did you guys meet? How is this relationship work? I mean, you know, Angel, what were you doing 10 years ago before you decided to become a real estate agent? And, you know, what were you doing before you decided to do loans? You know, tell me a little bit about that story so people could get to know really who you guys are as a person, right? So go ahead, Angel.
How did we meet? Oh man, I think we met like in 2010.
Yeah,
it goes back before real estate.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you guys knew each other before real estate.
Yeah, we lived in a financial institution.
Yeah.
Not throwing any names out there, but they're pretty big. But you know, I started at that company like 10 years, 2010, and then from then all the way till 2017, I was with them. You know, I learned how to talk to clients and how to, set my own goals, how to work as a. At the end of the day, I'm a salesperson, right? I was working as a salesperson, and being able to educate and talk to clients and be able to like explain, from how a credit card works, how a loan works, how your savings and your online banking, all that works, right? And that's where I came from, and I was able to translate into real estate, and been successful with it.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
We've known each other for a long time. Like Angel says, in 2010, worked at a big financial institution, and we knew each other because we were always in the leaderboard for top performers.
Oh, okay.
Joel Angel. And never got a chance to meet each other, you know?
Oh, that's cool.
And I remember the day that I met Angel, he was like, "Oh man, Joel, I thought you were gonna be an old guy, dude." I remember that.
That's
and
funny.
then next thing you know, we became close friends.
Yeah.
You know, we worked out together. I went to his wedding. Him is mine, by the way, which I'll teach him for the rest of his life. But we've known each other for such a long time, man.
That's cool, man. That's really cool because, again, right, it goes beyond just the transaction.
It does.
It goes to the fact that you guys really like working with each other. Because I know real estate professionals that, they like their loan officer, but they don't like their loan officer, right? And let's be honest, all right? Everything is wonderful when the transaction goes smooth.
Right.
I'm sure you guys have very tough transactions that maybe you guys are not seeing eye to eye, but because of your relationship, because of your respect for each other, you guys just say, "Hey,
it is what it is."
We closed that one, dude, and we just got to move on, right? Because there's some people that hold grudges as well, and they think, "Oh, well, Angel was trying to screw my deal, and Joel's trying to end the title company." But at the end of the day, it's nothing personal,
right? And it goes back to what Joel said. He doesn't issue a pre-approval as long as he knows that's going to close.
Right.
Right. I'm not going to show you a home as long as I know you can close your home.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to go window shopping with you and you fall in love with something and you can't do it.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the worst, because you're like, "Oh, let me go show you a $500,000 house." And they're like, "Oh, perfect. I love it. Let's put an offer. Let's talk to a lender." And then they're like, "Oh, you only qualify for $400,000.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the worst feeling ever for them, because now they're going to be comparing that $500,000 house to all the other $400,000 house, and never it's going to meet their, what they want.
Right.
So it definitely is. I lost my train of thought.
Right. No, and again, right? It's a partnership.
Yeah.
It's a I gotta trust you with what you're telling me. You're not gonna BS me,
right?
And I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna go find. Be at the price point, the closest and nicest thing I can for my clients, and that's what makes this relationship work for years.
Exactly.
We don't, in short terms, we don't BS each other. We don't BS anyone.
Yeah.
We tell it how it is. Yeah, we lose clients and business because of it, but we'd rather go to sleep at night knowing that we did the right thing.
Right.
We've had people that have come to us and they're like, "Oh, my payment's over there. We're actually going to stick over there." And then next thing you know, they close. Great, still congratulate you. And then next thing you know, they come back. Well, can you explain to me exactly what they did? Because it's not making sense now. My payment has adjusted.
They'll send us their closing package.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so let me tell you.
We'll be more happy to go over it with them.
Yeah. That's cool.
Because we know that we're the trusted person now.
Yeah.
Right? Because they close with somebody else, but in the back of their head, they're like, "Hey, Angel and Joel were the guys. They were trustworthy."
Yeah.
That explains to me why you guys the bulk of your business is repeat business.
Yeah.
Because even though they don't close with you, they still you're still their trusted advisors, and that's cool.
And then they tell the family and friends and everything. And it's like, hey, now they know and everybody knows. Like, we'll tell them how it is from the beginning. They don't question us or anything. We take just pride in transparency more than anything.
That's very cool.
We kept, at least I keep tabs. Like, with all the clients that we've closed since, for example, 2022's interest started going up, and we kept track, and it's like, okay, this person closed with a 6.5, this person closed with a 7, and we're reaching out to them, and like, I'd be like, hey, time to talk to Joel. Hey, do you want to, it's been there for a while. Do you want to buy a house? Because there's a lot of people, for example, in 2020, when during COVID, where you had mentioned earlier, like, 20, 30, 40 houses you had seen. The house really picked you. You didn't get to pick the house. Right? That's true. Now it's like I'll call my clients and I'll be like, hey, do you want to go out now and look for the house that you want? Or hey, do you want to refinance your house because now you're ready to lower your payment?
So, you just gave me the secret of why you're successful and other agents are not. And it's on your follow-up.
Right.
Yeah.
You have a system that you created for yourself. I mean, again, right, it might have been 10 years ago when you were working on another branch or another company and said, hey, this is the training that I was getting. But your follow-up to continue to talk to people 5, 6, 4, 3 years ago and keep them in mind and reaching out to them is why you guys are successful in this market where other agents are not. And I talk to agents all day long, from big firms, little firms, and everything. And I'm always trying to find that secret sauce. And I think you just gave it to me. You're like, you know what? I'm still following up with people from 2020.
Family, man, everybody becomes family.
I don't hear that very often. So I applaud you guys by setting that standard of this is the type of professionals we are.
Right.
You come to our circle, we're not going to let you go unless you tell me, leave me alone, then that's a totally different story. But you're still going to stay engaged with that potential buyer, even though if he didn't buy 2-3 years ago, you're still going to keep on telling them. And that's phenomenal.
You guys stay connected and start, build that relationship.
Yeah.
Because, I've been invited to birthday parties for kids, and then it's been, like, hey, I know you guys were getting married. Congratulations. Follow up with them. That's like, awesome. How's the baby? And, it's not just a transaction. I'm done. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
And I want to, come back and be one of those, friends that you can, trust on.
That's cool. That's cool.
Everybody becomes family,
Yeah. And Angel, and Joel, for your part, the financial part, you a lot of these people are coming in with really not understanding personal finance thing, and you're literally coaching them and saying, hey, if you put A here and B here and here and here, and you do your credit and you minimize your payments and everything, you're literally giving them a crash course on financial literacy. How important is for them to teach that to their young kids as well?
I love it, man. I always encourage people, like, if you're gonna come, for a consultation, bring your family, bring your kids. I want them to hear what's coming out of my mouth, because that's gold. Even though you might not use it right now, in the future you're gonna remember, Joe, something about credit. That can you tell me again what that was? They hear the word credit and they already started. Okay, I gotta establish credit.
Right.
They hear the words down payment. So I always invite people to bring their family, bring their kids, just have them even listening to this stuff.
Awesome.
It's just pure gold. But yeah, I love it, man. I love sitting down with the families, giving them the crash course. I love sitting down with families that some don't even have any credit because they just got the social. I love teaching them how to build that credit so that we can come back down the road and buy homes.
That's really cool. That's really cool because, again, right, it just sets them up for success in the future.
It's a generational wealth,
Yeah. So again, it's really important for the consumers to understand that there's a reason why people work with each other. There's a reason why Angel and Joel work as a team, because they have figured out how to take care of the consumer. And at the end of the day, the consumer is the client. They're the boss, right? They're the ones that kind of tell you, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want to pay. This is where I want. If they're not there, you kind of coach them to get there. And then they're going to buy their house. And then hopefully they start thinking about how can I buy a second home, or maybe how I could buy a business, right? The limit it's unlimited if you really think about it.
That's the beautiful thing about this country, man.
Right.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
You buy one home. I always tell people, you buy one, it was this easy. Let me just tell you, it's going to be even easier to buy the second one, really, and the third one. And then they start building a portfolio. And they're like, it's actually so easy. I don't know why they don't teach this stuff. I'm like, no, it's generational wealth,
Right.
It's
Angel,
awesome, man.
Agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Just having them understanding it, and having them know how to do, we've had how old was he? he was like 20 years old. Remember that?
Oh yes.
I think his name was Jonathan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was 20 years old.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty cool,
he showed up to Joel's office because I tend to sometimes show up, you know, like when Joel meets in person.
Yeah.
And he shows up, and we're like, "Oh, where's his parents?" You know, like he looks young.
He looked young,
but he had
man.
so many questions about his credit. He already had established credit.
Yeah, everything.
Oh, wow.
20, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, I have this. I want to do this. What else do I need to do?" And we told him, Joe was like, "Hey, you qualify for X amount."
Yeah.
Then we're like, "Hey, but you want to keep it a little lower so you can be comfortable."
Yeah.
And like, he was like, "All right, perfect. I'm okay with it and happy." And he ended up buying it. But he was like one of our youngest clients that we ever seen.
That's cool,
he has
man.
2 homes now. One rents out, and he has the other one. And I asked him why he bought it, and it was because I bought it for my parents. I was like, "Man, dude, this is awesome, bro."
So the reason why I brought up that study, right, the NAREP, 2025 homeowner ownership report is the young adults are buying their homes for their parents because their parents probably had a home back in 2008. They lost it because they didn't have a status, right, a immigration status. Now they're grown up and like, you know what? I'm the one that has the power to purchase. I'm gonna do this for my parents, and that is totally respect in my book.
Yeah, no, 1,000%, man, 1,000%.
Right.
Especially with social media nowadays, you can find so much stuff. And I actually get this a lot from my younger clients. I always tell them, because they always ask me questions. I saw this on TikTok. I saw this on social media. Is it legit or not?
Yes.
And I'll tell them, you know what? That's actually a really good video. That's 100% legit. Oh, you know what? That's legit in a perfect scenario. This is how it applies to yours.
Right.
So we just got to keep, there's a lot of information out there. Just take it with a grain of salt. It's good info, but for solid advice, trustworthy, no BS, Angel and I will help you out.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, you know what? I think we're finishing at the right end because, believe it or not, the hour is gone.
Man.
That's quick.
What did I tell you guys, right?
That's good, man.
I told you guys. So again, but as we're leaving, give me your name, number, how do you get a hold of? If you have social media and you want to put it there, the company you represent, and then one quick little last tip for our listeners. So we'll start with Angel.
Yeah, so it's Angel Martinez, 702-609-2426 is my phone number. On Instagram, I'm Angel Sells Vegas. And I'm with Berkshire Hathaway for the last 9 years. I'm one of the switcheroos. I like to build my brand and just stay there.
That's good.
And always ask questions, and always just keep asking questions throughout the whole process. If your agent gets annoyed of you because you're asking questions, he's not the right person. Because we're educators.
I like that.
So just ask questions.
I like that tip, man. Joel, please, if you want to give me your contact info.
Of course. Joel Panduro, 702-419-5363. You can call or text me anytime. Apparently, everybody loves to text, man. So feel free to text me. I do a lot of buyer consultations through text, so don't be shy. 702-419-5363. On Instagram, you can find me under Joel Mortgage Partner, and I'll be more than glad to answer any questions that you have. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Any question, go ahead and ask it. And one thing I will say though is don't pay for services upfront. Please don't.
Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful tip because again, right, people are not unfortunately being brutally honest when it comes down. And if you're working with a professional, nobody, not even an attorney, is going to charge you for the first consultation. Usually they give you 30 minutes free and they're like, you better talk really fast because those 30 minutes are going to go by really quick. But they're not charging. So that should be the first red flag. So, hey, guys, I want to really thank you for taking the time.
Appreciate having us.
To coming down here and meeting with me, doing my podcast and really bringing great information out there. I really appreciate it. Well, you guys know me. My name is JC Castillo. I work with Equity Title. And like I always tell you, please, Mr. Seller, Ms. Buyer, if you guys are selling or buying a home and you want Equity Title to close your transaction, you could go ahead and recommend your real estate agent to go ahead and open escrow with Equity Title. I'm here every day. Try to be here every day. Please make sure if you like the show, give us a thumb like. If you don't, let us know why, and we will definitely adjust. And like I always tell you, please behave. Take care of each other because it's not that hard to be nice to people. I love what Joe said. Do not pay for consultations. I love what Angel said. Educate. Get yourself educated. Ask the right questions because unfortunately, if you don't ask the right question, you're not going to get the right answer. So we'll see you on the next episode. Please make sure you guys help and take care of each other. And we're out of here for the next show.